If you're trying to grow a creative business, there's weeks that it's not just edit. It's positioning, it's pipeline, it's making it easier for the right people to say yes to you. The next few minutes, I'm going to walk you through two lanes, United Post House and Talents. And I'm going to talk about what we shipped, what we built, and what the next step is. This week wasn't exactly the fun creative reel. This is the grind work that actually creates leverage. A featured editor roster, SEO refresh, 3 lead magnets, and of course consistent daily posting with Talents. At the end of the video, you'll know exactly what we built to attract agencies and directors, how we're turning the website into an acquisition engine, and why consistency on Talents is still the non-negotiable. Over at United, we made some big moves, specifically in the positioning of our servicing and everything that we're doing. I did a lot of deep digging, and I was able to finally get the vision in my head out on paper and really shape the company around where we're going. And now this is super vital and super important to do, because without the vision, without the mission and where you're going, it's very difficult to go anywhere. And I definitely had something in my head that I was going for, but it wasn't as concrete on writing. One of the things I really used to help me process through this, because it was a very difficult thing to get out of my head, out on paper, or out on a digital page, if you will, I actually used ChatGPT and created a GPT where it asked me questions around my company. And I would have it clarify and ask me deeper questions on all of this, especially in the why, the how, and the what. And this basically led me to exactly where I needed to be with the company. And so I actually ended up creating a roadmap on how we can take the next steps to get to the next level, the bottlenecks that my company is in right now, and we're able to kind of navigate that whole space. One of the biggest things that we're starting to change on positioning is actually showcasing featured editors in a roster instead of just the company as a whole. Now this will really give us a foot up as a win-win, not just for the editor to get more work and to actually let them have some backing behind a post house where they'll have a producer, they'll have calendars, they'll have a whole organized pipeline for them, and they can have color, VFX, animation, all those things to support their editing career, while they are able to, instead of just getting a one-off edit with a client that they had, and the client usually starts to lean more away into wanting to have a full service. This will make it more enticing for them to get their old clients back, but also to get new clients. And it's a win for United, because now we get to actually showcase featured editors. And the biggest thing in United is to see the human. And we're really going after human connection on every level in the edit room with the people. And this is really going to have a forward-facing people to actually have interaction and connection with. So one, it aligns with the mission, but two, it creates a more personal level of engagement with agencies, directors, production companies, all across the board. So after we looked at that, we had to do a whole refresh of SEO and branding, because of the position of how is agencies, brands, directors, production companies viewing us in the position that we are in. And so I really dug in deep on this. So I went in and actually created a new SEO plan for the website, where we ended up making 8 to 10 articles specifically on big questions asked in agencies, directors, and for brand companies, where they can actually go and we can rank high on SEO search, because the articles will answer those questions in a very formatable way. And what's really cool about that too is we actually made sure, with the help of AI agents, to research the connecting dots for these articles and to really dig into what is the actual thing that we can help and provide, not just from a post standpoint of view, but something that's going to be helpful for the entire edit and the commercial ad to be successful. Along with this is where the 3 magnets were made, where we created free PDFs and workbooks for agencies, directors, and brands to utilize in their day-to-day work with their agencies, in the day-to-day work with their ad companies and their ad campaigns. And so this really helps them understand the post process, the workflow, and what to expect, but also keeping things in mind in retrospect. When they get to the edit, they won't be caught off guard of, oh, let's fix it in post. They actually have a plan already in the front end to be ready to actually handle what's happening in post. The first resource out of the 3 that we made was the United workbook, which gives you a whole philosophy behind United, but also philosophy within the pipeline. So we break down the process from start to finish and what to expect in the pipeline, especially with United. The second PDF that we made was Pre-Edit Alignment, where we went into and created a PDF for agencies, directors, brands to pre-plan and have conversations in the front end, how to lead an actual alignment call, more specifically talking about what are the things we're actually protecting. It goes over 4 very important questions that's really helpful for anybody who's creating a commercial ad. Now the third resource is the director's workbook, and this is a checklist of everything of a pre-alignment into post, things to constantly think about of what shots do I need for my post team, my editor, to have what they need. And it also has a special thing at the end where it's like what editors wish that directors actually got. So it gives a snapshot into what post would look like for a director and for them to think about either on set or before, things in consideration of shots that they need in order to make the edit successful. Because there's a lot of leeway and a lot of things moving around when you restructure in post. Post is really coming alongside, guiding the final vision, but also structuring exactly how it's going to be communicated. And a lot of times that looks like different things in improvising. So this is going to prepare directors to jump in and be ready to go for post. And this also plays into our philosophy. So all of these PDFs are related to one another and can be conjoined together or separate. And it doesn't mean you have to work with us. The whole purpose really behind United in creating these was to, one, be an authority in this space, but two, to genuinely give helpful content and workbooks to agencies and directors and brands who are suffering through these ads and wondering why they're not getting the result that they want, not just in post, but overall with their performance. So with all that, I had to pull together 3 resources from each Kyle and Pete, our 2 featured editors on our website. And so I did a full website refresh brand. Go check it out. It's pretty sick, I think, but I mean, I guess I'll let the viewer have its own opinion on that. Go check it out, unitedposthouse.com. And this is going to be the new way that we're actually facing clients now. So in my past videos, I have talked about ChatGPT Codex, and I actually got a comment from one of my friends who's like, hey, Claude Code is 10 times better. And I was like, I don't know about that, but I decided to check it out. And unfortunately, it wasn't what I was hoping it to be, especially with the comments. It is very great at doing its resourcing. It is very great at the tool that it's used for creating websites and the structure and the reasoning behind it. And it would have been superior to Chat, except ChatGPT Codex just came out with a 5.4 version, which does the same kind of reasoning. So for me, I'm like, they both kind of work really well and it doesn't really fully matter. But I do think Claude has a small advantage in terms of understanding code a little bit better than Codex. But there's some features in Codex that I like better than Claude and just user friendly. So either way, at this point, it feels like in the AI race against everything, both are pretty level and both are pretty even at this point, same price point. So it really, I think, comes down to what you prefer using. Now, I'm using both of these in Visual Studio Code. I'm not using it with anything externally, nothing like, I think it's called ClickUp, or not ClickUp, but like Click or something with a mouse. But I'm not using anything besides Visual Studio Code as a plugin. So that's my experience with it. It could be different for everyone else. What I do love about these agents is that it actually really superior with SEO. And so you're able to do your research with SEO and figure out, where am I trying to target? What's the strategy behind this? And Claude and Codex both do an amazing job at making sure your SEO is on point, like really on point. And they go deep and they do a really good job on the SEO. And so I highly recommend, if you're doing your website, to use one of these bots, because they're gonna find all the gaps and the holes where you're actually missing SEO opportunity. So big projects that we have coming down the pipeline is a project for Turtle Beach. We'll see if that one actually comes through. Right now, we're just waiting for it to be awarded, and then we'll make sure that the budgets align and everything. We can make this actually happen for their request that they're doing. It's a pretty sick concept, which obviously I can't talk about until it's done, like every project, but I can't wait to show you guys once we do get it. So this is the big thing that we're doing, as well as following up with old contacts that we've already been in communication with, that we have, one, either worked with, or two, never worked with before, but we've had just a warm engagement. And so one of the agencies we actually reached out to again, just wanted to catch up with them. Just a simple, let's hop on a call and let's catch up. And it turned out they actually have a need. And so their reasoning for wanting to jump on the call was that they have a potential project that they need our help with. And so just a reminder to keep on reaching out to the warm clients that you've already had engagement with, or contacts you've had engagement with, because you never know when they're ready to buy. It was about almost 2 years ago that we've had initial conversation, and we've never had any partnerships or any projects together. Cool. So that was United site. A lot of moving, a lot of changing, and a lot of good stuff. So I keep you guys posted with that as we continue to reach out to agencies and directors with this new face. But let's move over to talents. Again, nothing flashy here, but the cool thing is watching the consistency in this. And so we have 3 podcasts out right now. We have a 4th one on its way, going to be dropping one of these Wednesdays. And so basically what's super cool about this is watching what we actually are already trying to implement and change. And so this last episode we just posted got around 100 to 150 views with some really good analytics coming in. And so the biggest change that we did with this again was this intro, and we really made this hinged on the story aspect of it, which I think is something new that I'm going to be keeping in mind moving forward is that this one hit hard on the story. And so for about 45 to 60 seconds was the intro, and at 30 seconds we have 62% retention rate, which is extremely amazing compared to what we last had, which was 30 something percent. And our suggestions are going up, which means our packaging is doing really well for that scope. And so we're going to definitely take these changes and move forward with it. But overall, it seems like we're starting to kind of get a rhythm and a click with understanding how we should package, how the hook should run, and then actually getting the results we're expecting to see. On the flip side, we're still putting out segments, we're still putting out reels, and we're still just doing those daily. And so that's keeping our engagement with YouTube audience and our consistency through YouTube, which YouTube loves. And so after 3 months, we should see a pretty big jump in views is my guess. And so we're about a month in, maybe a month and a half. So we'll kind of keep that in the loop as things move forward. There are some new things that we're going to be implementing, which is another show within the Talents ecosystem. And we have a lot of super awesome podcasts that actually I think is going to really inspire and really engage people on another level. These people that we are going to be doing podcasts with have a different mindset. They're in a different place in life that will really help people get to a place that they're trying to get to and get around roadblocks that they can't get around. Quote to leave you guys with: start a business full or part-time, work on commission, get a percentage of revenue or company profits, or get stock options. The vast majority of millionaires become rich by being in their own business.